Hello and welcome. My name is Jess and I'm coming to you from Southwest Florida. Knit.Purl.Repeat is a channel where I mainly chat about my knitting. I want to cast everything on. I want to make all of the things. But occasionally I also include spinning projects, crochet, and sewing. So if you'd like to join me, then come on in, get comfortable, maybe grab a project and a beverage, and let's chat. This is episode 18. Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're brand new here. Thanks for joining us here today in my living room. Actually, I'm not really sure if this is the best setup or not. Is there too much going on behind me? I don't have a lot of places in my house to record. Outside would be fantastic, but there's so much ambient noise that it's not really possible, and it's getting very hot. I have been in front of the piano before because it had that kind of nice background, but then I blend in and I kind of feel like maybe it looks like I'm trying to copy Melina, who's the playful knitter. I know I'm not, and I don't think she would think so either, but at least she plays the piano. I do not. So I don't know, I just was looking for nicer backgrounds to be in. But I hope it's not distracting with all the stuff behind me in this little part of the house, but it also has good lighting. And because I'm wearing my classic black shirt, right, we have a little bit of contrast. I really need to wear this, and it's for you today, because I am having one of those days where I am on fire from the inside out, right? I feel like I should be bright red by now. So it's very hot, and you might hear the air conditioning, unless I can filter that out, because I'm here by myself. So I've cranked it because I am so hot today. And it's not even the weather outside. It's beautiful. It's sunny, breezy this morning. It is going to be another record high temperature. So today is Friday, April 4th, 2025. And it is supposed to be in the low 90s degree Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's April. That's June temperatures. But here we are in April. So yeah, my days for being outside, walking, or doing anything else other than being in the pool or being a big sloppy, sweaty mess are very numbered. So there'll be lots of air conditioning knitting going on soon. Right, so enough with that ramble, but I hope this works out okay for you today, but that's also why I'm not wearing any knits. There will not be a what am I wearing episode. I'm wearing a cotton t-shirt, and I'm not going to show you. I'm wearing some like lounge pajama shorts. I'll admit it, you're just not going to see it. So that's how we roll here. If you know, you've been here before. Thanks so much for coming back. I'm so glad that you've decided to come back to this crazy and sit with me while we chat about knitting. So today I do have I'm going to call it 2.8 finished objects because one is so close to being done. I have some progress on some of those lingering whips, which are partly included in that finished object tally. I have other whips that I will talk a bit about, but because I have worked a little bit on the various items I have, none of them have made huge progress, so I'm going to skip over some of those until there's more of something to share with you. But I do have some acquisitions, some plans, some swatching going on, so that's what we're going to cover today. So let's get chatting. Okay, so finished object number one is something that I've been waiting to talk to you about, but I had to wait for the pattern to be released. Today is April 4th. It is pattern release day for the Booble Socks pattern by Nancy Wheeler. She is Knit Sip Happy on all the social media. I'll put the pattern image up here, and then I'm going to show you my socks. I had the pleasure of testing this pattern for Nancy, and we've been waiting to share them with you. They're called the Booble Socks because this time each year, for the past several years, Nancy designs a pattern that is boob, breast, whatever themed, because she uses the first week of the pattern sales as the proceeds to donate to Canadian Cancer Research or the Canadian Cancer Fund. I'm not sure the exact title, but for breast cancer support and research. And so this year are the Booble socks. So here are mine. And I will talk a little bit more about the texture in a moment, but there, depending on which side you look at, because I used a variegated yarn, you can see the boobles in here. So these are baubles, which led to the name Boobles for the Booble socks. So these are a cuff down pattern. You start with a contrasting color. We won't talk about what's going on with my loosey-goosey cast on edge, just please ignore that. I used a yarn from Blackbird Yarn Sycamore, and I think it's the color Nanook. And the rest of this is a hand-dyed yarn from Louie Lola Yarns, who is a hand dyer in Tasmania. I got this yarn as part of a bundle from the Grocery Girls last October, which was for a breast cancer fundraiser as well. And so what a perfect yarn then to use for this breast cancer research fund. So that's what this lovely color is, and it's called Knit for the Girls, which I think was the name of the bundle. So it is cuff down. You work the leg in pattern until you do the heel. You could do whatever heel you like, but the pattern is written for a slip stitch heel, the heel turn, and a gusset. And then the foot is continued, the foot is continued in stockinette, and the pattern is continued on the instep, except Nancy's written it to not work the baubles down the front just because it might not be comfortable in your shoe. But of course, you can continue them if you like. She does make a suggestion about what stitch you could put in the middle of those where the bauble would have been. Of course, you can put whatever stitch you like in there, but I actually like the way this texture comes out with the alternating sort of boxes of garter and stockinette. And you can still see that wavy bit that is kind of the part of the boob shape. And then it ends with the rounded toe. I'll show you here. And the pattern calls for the Kitchener's stitch for the grafting. I did the Finchley graft just because I want to practice that and try that one out. Not too bad. I have to work on the tension, pulling it, not pulling it too tightly. Otherwise you get the purl bumps come too close together and you get a ridge inside here. So that takes a little work, but you don't get the dog ears so much that you get with the Kitchener stitch. So I do like that. I'm going to keep practicing. So I made these on 72 stitch size is what I tested. And I used the pattern needles, which are 2.25 millimeter. I did mine in Magic Loop. And so you can see here are the baubles. If I turn them sideways, you can probably see them better. So it's it's an 8 round repeat. And so once you get that down, right, it's just continue on and it's all the way around the sock and the leg until you have as many repeats as you like, stopping on a particular row to work the heel flap, then pick up the stitches and continue down in pattern, however you want to do it. So that is the Booble socks. So the pattern is now live on Ravelry. I think Nancy said it'll be on Lovecrafts soon. So if you'd like to grab a pattern and support the fundraiser, the price is super generously low. Price for Nancy's patterns, and they're really fun patterns to make, easy to memorize, a little bit more than just vanilla if you're looking for something just to keep you a little bit of more interest than that. If you are not a knitter or you don't knit socks, but you would like to donate or gift these to someone, you could buy the pattern, gift it to another knitter who you know loves to knit socks, and support that as well. So along with that, I will be gifting somebody a copy of this pattern. So if you would like to be in the running for a digital pattern through Ravelry of this Booble Socks pattern, then in the comments, please use the word Booble in your comment, and I will use the random picker next time I podcast and choose a winner. So again, it's Booble, Bobble, and I will choose a winner. Okay. I think the fundraiser part goes until the 12th of April, I believe. And then after that, they're still available for purchase, but the proceeds will no longer be going to the fundraiser. They'll be going to Nancy, who is the designer. Okay. So that's finished object number 1. Finished object number 2, put it over there, is the Nadine, the cowl pattern by Isabella Kramer. So I finished that, sewn it up, sewn off all the ends. So I generated, along with that, I generated more fluff for my next gnome, more filling for the next gnome, all my ends. And I think it turned out pretty well. It's got some issues. It has some unintentional design elements in it, but I think overall it worked out really well. I used this blue yarn, is this color from Sweet Sparrow Yarns. I'll put the colorway name up here because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It was from a subscription I had several years ago, 22, 23, maybe even older than that. So that's this colorway here. It is a single ply, fingering weight. And the second color used, this is what I have left of the Queensland Collection Rainbow Beach in the color Aurora Australis, which is color 133. I think this would be a fantastic project to use up any hand spun yarn or homespun yarn you might have, especially the color change, even if it's not color changing, anything, because it would give that really nice bobble texture on here and really make it stand out. If it's thick and thin, it would still work really great. So you basically knit this in 3 sections, increasing differently to make that sort of, it's an asymmetrical scarf that will then eventually get sewn together to make this shape. You knit stripes. It's just that when you're done with the colors on the next rounds of the main color, you then drop stitches off the needle and pick them up to create, to knit between to create that bobble. Here's what it looks like on the inside. When you've done that, it creates this texture on the inside. So you do have ends at the end of every time you start and end a color stripe, you do have ends, but they're very easy to weave in, just one side. I did not do this one slip stitch edge very loosely. It does block out, but it doesn't have a lot of stretch to it, so just be careful of that. But I will put it on for you. Very briefly, because as I mentioned, I'm hot. So even though this is fingering weight, it's still pretty warm, it's still wool. So I like it, you know, it went on, it's not, I can hold it up, but I just kind of fold it in, wear it however you like, and it will be close enough to your neck. It doesn't strangle you, but it's also not drooping, right? So if you want to wear this under a coat or something, that would be great. So let me just show you how that looks like. So this is ready for gifting. I don't know who it is going to be rehomed to, but somebody, somewhere, someday will be getting this cowl. Okay, that has to come off. So that was really fun. A fun project at the end. My brain just really wasn't into it. It is almost mindless, except you have to remember to get these garter ridges on each side, which I figured out later, but when I first started, my brain did not want to follow along. So that's finished object number 2. Finished object 0.8, that's what I'm calling it, is the neckerchief that I talked about, I think, before. I know I showed it in my giant whip parade of things I needed to work out. It's called the Knitting Badge Neckerchief, and it is a free pattern on Ravelry. It is by Niklas, and basically it's alternating garter stitch and then these dropped stitch rounds. And that's it, over and over again. So you increase along the central spine and on the edges every other row. So on the right side, you're doing 2 increases on each half, and then you work your garter repeats, then you work this row, then you drop stitches and repeat until it's as long as you'd like it to go. And it will stretch out quite a bit because of that garter and those drop stitches. I'm making this for my husband, and I started it in August of 2023. It was supposed to be car knitting, car line knitting, but it wasn't working out between stopping and starting in the middle of rows and things. So, and then I got just shoved to the side. I think I would like it to be a little bit longer for him. It's just to wear around his neck while he's in the office or the man cave as he's working. But even stretched out, it would only kind of be something like this. I don't know that he wants to do that, if he'd rather tie it. So I could stop. I could do the last 9 rows and then bind off. If that's good, I'll have him check later what he'd rather do. But I still have this much yarn left, probably about 20 grams, maybe a little less than 20 grams. This is from Tulip Tree Yarns. This is Deep Stash. It was called, it's Treehouse Knit. Oh, sorry, it's Treehouse. My other thing said Tulip. I have a different ball band. According to Ravelry, who should have the right information on the page I created in 2023, says this is Treehouse Knits Spruce Sock. In the colorway Fraser's Ridge, I think. I'm not sure any of that information is correct, but anyway, here it is. And here's how it works out. No accuracy in this episode. Okay. So I was hoping to get this finished before the weekend. I was going to work on it Friday, get through it, or this weekend, but it was, my husband's birthday was yesterday. So I picked it up yesterday morning, thought, all right, let's take a look. Let's work on this thing. It's a little neckerchief. Get it done, woman. So I looked in the bag and I thought, how far have I gone? Sorry, phone interruptions. And I found I did leave myself a note in the bag. This is it. This is my note. That is what I had. But funny enough, when I looked at the pattern and thought, okay, can I figure out in the pattern what this is referring to? There's no row number. I don't, what's happening here? I did. I found it. This actually makes sense because you're repeating the garter. So this was enough to help me out, get me going again. So it's really easy knitting, fun to do, easy to do. Just got to keep track of what row I'm on. That's it. So I was hoping to finish it last night. I could have if this was long enough, but I thought keep going. It's a bit short and there's yarn. So hopefully he'll get that this weekend for his rest of his birthday present. All right, so that's it for finished objects. Let's move on to works in progress. So I'm not counting that as works in progress because it'll be done by the time this gets posted. That's what we're going to call it. So I have done some progress on my projects I showed you last time. The Amiata pullover, the Hay Sailor cardigan. Both of those I've made some progress on, but it's not really worth showing you at this point. I'd rather wait till I'm much further along to give you an update on that. I will show you so far on the Art Nouveau sweater. So the pattern by Eleanor Mortensen that I'm using with Mayak Fibers Fiordolino. So I've talked about these yarns before. I'll put them up on the screen just as a reminder. I have done one of the sleeves. So I ran out of the second ball of yarn for the body. So I decided to do the sleeves. I picked up a couple extra stitches, from the underarm that join as I typically do, but I didn't decrease them out. I left them in. I just tidied it up so that a couple times I just kept working on it until there was no gap between the stitches and then worked the required rounds. The pattern has you do a 1x1 twisted rib or half twisted rib on the cuff. I didn't feel like it. I thought it's probably going to get stretched out against my arm, so what's the point? It does look nicer, I think, but I just didn't feel like it. Then you knit one round and then you just bind off loosely and knit. So I did a stretchy bind off. I'm not sure because I think maybe I did it too stretchy, maybe it's too loose. I don't know. We'll see. I think once I block, this part is blocked, this isn't. I think once I block all this out, it should be fine. If not, I'm not weaving the end in. This will be an easy bind off edge to undo should I feel like I want to fix it. Yeah, otherwise I would have done a sewn bind off, but it's actually better it's not because I can undo it much more easily. So today or this weekend, I'm going to do the second sleeve and then finish the body. And again, on all the parts, I'm going to not weave in the end, and I want to try it on fully before I decide that it's long enough, that the arms are good, all of that. And so hopefully this will be done very soon. So lovely. Yes. Okay. It's 90 degrees out, wearing wool baby yak and linen. Maybe not, but inside, wherever, it'll be there waiting for me. And it is so soft. It is like a cloud. Okay. Pardon me. All right. So that's that update. Kind of new cast on whip is the Antrim shawl. I'm actually doing the shawlette, or the small version. I talked about this pattern in my pattern roundup episode. If you haven't watched that, you're looking for some examples of one skein projects to knit that are technically shawls. So either triangular shaped in some way or crescent boomerang shaped. You can take a look at that. So I did cast on for the shawlette. And so you start over on this little end, and you can see that section 1 of the 3 sections starts with garter ridges, and you're increasing along one edge and occasionally decreasing on the other, and getting these slip stitch columns that develop as you go along. So I think eventually this will be the, I think this one, I think this is the neck edge as it goes out. Believe. I can't remember now. Anyway, here we are. So I have just finished section 1. I am using Knit.Purl.Repeat Stroll in the color Dove Heather. So this is the 75-25 fine superwash merino nylon blend. It is very soft. I was a bit worried maybe in the shawl it's going to get too fuzzy, but it works out really nicely. It's got a beautiful drape in that tonal color. It's heathered and tonal, and it's very light and drapey, so I love it for a shawl, and really soft. What I have to get onto now is section 2, which is then working this color and blending it in with the other color number 2. So I am using this color from Fiber MacGyver. This is their Merino Twist base. Hopefully you can read that. The camera's going to get it. If it's blurry, I'll put it up on the screen. This is the colorway Madge. Madge is the name of the little camper van that they use. So that's what it looks like. Yep, got little stitch stoppers with Madge on them. So I bought this at New York State Sheep and Wool Festival in 2024. I tried it against some warmer tones, and the cooler, I liked it better with this, and I checked with some experts in color at home, my teenagers, to see what they thought, and we all agreed that this color was better than some of the more beigey, grayish type colors. I was just hoping it wasn't going to look like toothpaste. So if you know Aquafresh, do they still make it? I don't know. I just didn't want it to have that kind of look to it. So hopefully it won't. I don't think so, because this is a gorgeous greenish, kind of a blue-green. I would say it's more on the green side. So you're going to alternate these into section 2, and eventually this will be section 3 at the end, which will be lower. Now it says in the pattern that if you had full, like ample amounts of yardage, so starting with 2 full skeins of 100 grams of fingering weight yarn, that you would have enough then to alternate and make the reverse or the inverse of this pattern, which I'm not going to do because I have one ball that's 50 grams of this color. So I won't have enough, and I don't really need to. Although you could gift one, right? One for you, one for somebody else. My issue is that there is a lot of work that's gone into this pattern from this designer, that for me, it was a bit of too much information, like information overload. So there's basically everything you might need to know about the pattern is there. And I found that a bit hard to filter through and really figure out what I was doing where. it finally clicked for me on section 1 because I just thought, okay, I'm going to ignore all this other stuff. I read through some of the tips and things, and I'm just going to get started with section 1. And so eventually I understood what she was saying with having, there's 3 parts to every row that you do, section A, B, and C. Section A and B are basically the edges, what's going on here. Section B in the middle is where you're working the slip stitch texture. And so you're repeating it. And so after a while, I realized the way it was written, it wasn't saying, oh, repeat this to the end. It kept saying until so many stitches. I thought, okay, I got it. Like, it made sense to me. I think for a new knitter, it might be information overload, and I may have just been like, whoa, I don't understand what's going on, and not started. But that's just my brain. There are row by row stitch counts that go with these repeats. So actually I had repeated more than I realized once I counted the stitches, just the way it was written as well. So some of it's just following a new to me format for pattern writing. But now that I've got to section 2 and read through what it says, it has another row by row count, what you're supposed to do, but then below has some other information. And then there's also a texture chart that doesn't seem to be with the table above of row by row counts. Goes with other things. So I feel like I'm missing something, or it's just, it's there, but I'm not using it. I could use it. I'm not really sure what's going on. I haven't figured that out yet. And my brain hasn't been in the right mode, apparently, to work that out. So I'm hoping it's like the first one where there's just lots of kind of extraneous information that I don't need. If I'm using one part of the pattern, you can ignore the other part. I don't know. I don't know. If by any chance you worked on the Antrim shawl, and have any tips for me on section 2, please drop me a comment or send me a message and please help my brain. All right. So that's the newest cast on since last time. I have also done some swatching because I have some acquisitions. So let's move on to plans and acquisitions. This is probably the longer section. So, I will later be talking about my April Farmer's Daughter Fiber sock set, but I'm going to do that at the very end. So I'll let you know when we get to that point. That's where you can leave if you haven't already, because we'll be done at that point. Okay, let's start off with the yarns I acquired from Blackbird Sycamore Yarns, which is a hand dyer in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So that is Stephanie. I will put her details in the description box, which, if I didn't mention at the beginning, if you're new here, all of my contact information and links to designers, my Ravelry pages, things like that will be listed in the show notes, along with timestamps. Okay, so for my test knit, the test knit was going on now with Nancy Wheeler, that the pattern won't be released till May. At this point, it is a secret test knit again, so I won't be showing you what the pattern looks like, but I'm going to show you the yarn. I tried it out with some yarns I had in my stash. I wasn't really excited about. They're nice yarns, but I didn't think they really made the pattern really look its best. And I was waiting on my Farmer's Daughter Fibers sock set, thinking, well, I'll just try out the pattern. I really want to cast it on. I want to see what's going on with it. While I wait. So I had also decided, well, maybe I'll look for some other yarns, because the ones I had at home, I didn't like for the pattern. So I went on Etsy and ordered some yarns to try out. And one of the first ones I got is this beautiful, yes, blue-green yarn. It's called Spruce. To me, it's more green than a sprucey dark blue-green. Like, to me, this is showing up darker on camera than it really is, but maybe for you, once you see it, it is a much lighter color to my eye than it looks on the screen, but still beautiful. I really like it. This is her 75-25% superwash merino recycled nylon base. Camera doesn't want to focus on this today. And this is the color Spruce. So what I like about these yarns as well is they don't have that super slick, slippery superwash base to it. So it still has a little bit of grip, which was nice because I wanted that for this test pattern. It is a 4-ply as well. So I wanted this really nice round yarn. One of the other ones I also got, which I think on screen it had more of a luster to it. Maybe it was deeper. You know, the colors I saw on her page. But to me, it comes up in this really lighter, subdued colors. So they go from these sort of light pinks to dark purpley reds. And, oop, that's not the band. Oh dear, I've lost it here. Sorry for the crinkling as well. Ah, I lost it. Sorry about that. I've lost the ball band somewhere here in my mess for a second recording. But it's called Crimson Queen. And those are the colors. And I can show you what at least it looks like knit up in a stockinette portion. I'm going to hide the other parts. So that's how it looks, knit up. See that there? Doesn't show much, I know, but I can't show you that sock. And I'm not going to show you again until they're finished and the pattern comes out. So look forward to that in May. So I got those two. So I really like the way that one looks. So that's the one I'm using for the test knit. And then there were, Stephanie also sells minis, skeins on a lot of the bases or colors she has. And she has a lot of colors to choose from. And her shipping is super fast. I decided to try out this one called Malachite. So same base, but 20 grams. So 88 yards approximately. I was looking at it to see what I thought of this for maybe color work yoke or doing some color work in a sweater. So I really love this color. So I can see ordering more of this in the future. That's gorgeous. So those were my acquisitions from that hand dyer. And then I also ordered some yarn from New Zealand, and I'm totally blaming Libby Johnson, who is a pattern designer, knitwear designer located in New Zealand. Libby is known as Truly Myrtle. She also runs Wardrobe Toolbox, which I am a member of. So where we get lessons for making our knits fit better, but we also have other things about shawls and other knitwear. There's also groups in there that chat about sewing and crochet and spinning and whatever making. So this pattern was specifically was for Wardrobe Toolbox, but then about a year after that, it's exclusive to members there. Then it's available on Libby's website or on Ravelry. So on Libby's live episodes on YouTube, she was wearing one of her sweater patterns called Alex, and I'll put the picture up here. And I kind of had mixed feelings about this pattern. I wasn't sure. I liked that idea of the V-neck with the crew neck, but then I thought, do I really like it? Do I want that? Will I wear it? Then again, it's another sweater. But then I love also the sleeves. And I've been collecting Libby's patterns and have yet to cast on one of her garments. And I wanted to try the garment construction. And plus in Wardrobe Toolbox, there's a lot of stuff, information and lessons and guides on the fit and trying out different sleeves and sleeve constructions, getting the best fit, all of that. So I thought, oh yeah, maybe, because she was wearing it, there's something about somebody, not just in a static photo, but actually seeing it either in person or them moving in it, that really makes a difference to me. Now, it might be that I say, yeah, that isn't for me. I wouldn't wear that or use it. Or, ooh, actually, I think I would like to have that. So what clinched the deal, was that the yarn Libby used for that sweater is a yarn from a company in New Zealand called Skeins. And they were having a massive sale on their wools. Now, New Zealand's dollar is horrible right now compared to the rest of the world's economy. I think it might even be worse than Australia and Canada. I mean, it's that bad. So, part of Libby's plug was, help out the New Zealand companies and help them out. And so I did. With the US dollar conversion rate, even with shipping, which came through DHL in like 2 weeks, it was super fast. It was an amazing deal on some really great yarns. So I bought some. Now thinking, of course, wasn't thinking. I should have probably bought some more. So Alex is one of the patterns that's knit with a sport weight yarn. And a lot of the patterns I have from Libby are sport weight as well, cardigans and things like that. So this is where I was thinking, maybe I should have bought more, or maybe should I use this for one of those other patterns that I bought first? But no, I really love the sleeves and the fit on this sweater. So anyway, I ordered some yarn, and this is the color that I chose. I'm going to show you. There's some crinkling. The bag back there. So this is the yarn, and it's all wrinkly because it comes in a vacuum packed bags. So I will show you the box it came in. I mean, it came in a box that Amazon would never do this stuff, right? You get a credit card size object in a box that could fit like a blanket, right? Like a big quilt. This was the complete opposite. But as soon as I let the air in, like opened it up, this just went boing, and it just bounced right back. So this is from Skeins. So as it says here, it is 10% possum, 25% fine alpaca, 50% merino, and 15% tencel. And this is the colorway Escape, which is shade 29. So it is a sport weight. You get approximately 151 meters on 50-gram balls. And it's this beautiful tealy blue-green. Which other colors they had there. There are a lot of beautiful colors. I'm still just not sure, will I wear them? Do I like the way they look on my coloring? Because I think I tend to lean more towards cooler tones than warmer tones. So coming all that way, I didn't want to risk it. I should have, right? It was, I can't even tell you what this cost. It's almost like a crime. But I want to support you, New Zealand. So here we go. So I cast on and I did a swatch. I swatched it flat. I did some of the knitting and purling on the edges just so that those would lay flat. So for the Alex pattern, Libby gives you the gauge for stockinette, both flat and in the round. I tend to just do flat because I do know that my in the round is probably tighter than working it flat, but my purl rows really aren't, I don't think are really that different from the knit rows. I don't really see it. But I might have a tendency, especially if I'm going faster, for it to be a bit tighter, but that's okay. I can keep that in mind after I do the swatch, block it, see what's happening with the dimensions. So now my stitch gauge is pretty close, and I like the fabric, so I'm just going to work with that for the sizes in the pattern. I'll work out over my bust circumference that I want with ease what size I would need to make. But my row gauge is way off. So I'm going to measure it again just to see it. I know though, of course, it's going to get longer this way, right? Once you have more of the weight in there, but I mean, it's pretty light. So I don't know how much it will stretch. I didn't put like any weight or clothes pegs on there to see what might happen. Maybe I will. So we'll see. I'll have to probably block it as it goes along to see how long to make it. But some of the work that's done in there, right, is to so many inches. So I might have to do a lot of blocking. Probably just steam block it as I go on to check my gauge and see how it's working. But you can see that nice little halo in there, I think, from the alpaca, a little bit of alpaca. It's light, it's soft, it's really a nice yarn. So I look forward to working with that. So that will be something cast on, but not until I finish one of my other garments. That is a self-imposed rule. We'll see if I stick with it. So also I wanted to try out some other yarns that they had. And so there was this fingering weight yarn. It's called Flight. It is 100% New Zealand merino. The brown color is called Wika. It's shade 605. And the lighter color one here is the color Kiwi, which is number 601. So these are natural merino shades. And so I'm going to use these to restart the Spring Fling shawl. Even though it's a 3-color project, I think it will look fine in these 2 colors. So I'm going to use this as the main color and one of the contrast colors. So when you're doing the 2 colored brioche, it won't be 2 colors, but it will be when I add in the brown. And I'm hoping that's going to look better to my eye. It's not that there's anything wrong with the pattern or other people's shawl. I mean, I like the one that Libby picked out as well. I just don't care for the ones I've been using based on the things in my stash. So I saw someone had a project that was a 2-color brioche where they just use a brown and a cream, and it looked really good. So I'm hoping I'm gonna like this as well. If not, I have about 4 balls of this one and I think 2 or 3 of this. It will still get used in something. All right, another swatch for an item I want to make and probably will get made cast on before Alex, depending on how I do with my other projects that are getting near the end. And that is a pattern newly released from Amy Scher, and it's called the Relax Tee or Relax Tee. I love the version here with the long sleeves and that pink. It has a texture patterns in there. I don't have enough yarn in a single color, and I looked at my stash and I didn't like any possible combinations to kind of break it up. So I wanted just one unicolor throughout. So I found this yarn in my stash. I had 2 of these. This was from a Yarnable subscription I tried for a few months. It's from Hypnotic Yarns. I'll put the name and the month colorway up here. It is super soft and nice and squishy. And so I've been swatching, well, at traffic lights, out for walks, sitting in the car, whatever it might be. And so I'm really liking, I know this is on a shorter, back and forth, but I do like how it's working out. So I need to finish it, of course, get the gauge, see what's happening here, and check it against the pattern. So I've also been collecting Amy's patterns. Haven't cast them on either because the season, usually it's just yarn. I don't have the yarn for it. I'm doing other things, whatever it might be. So I'm really looking forward to casting this one on soon, because Amy is running a knit along, so you can check out her Instagram page for information about that. So I would like this to be part of that knit along. If I don't make it, that's fine. Make it in time, I mean, for the knit along, that's fine. But this will probably be a next cast on. It is getting to be summer. It'd be great to have a tee in a more summer friendly yarn. But I have this and I don't want to be purchasing yarn right now. I want to work from some stash yarn. So this is what I'm going to work with, which I can use throughout the fall, winter, and spring in Florida. So it's okay that it's maybe not a summer tee, but it's going to be the rest of the year tee for me. So that's coming up soon. All right. So I believe we're on to the last part, which are talking about the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sock Squad April sock set. So if you don't want any spoilers or you're just not even interested, now would be the time to say goodbye. And thank you so much for visiting with me today. And I hope to see you next time. Right. If you are staying, then I'm going to show you the artwork again and show you the colors. So mine just arrived on April 2nd, so 2 days ago. And I decided not to use it for the test knit for Nancy. So then I had to think of another pattern. So I'll talk about that a little bit. But here, as a reminder, was the artwork for the inspiration. This month, it is on their elk horn sock base. It is in the color called Sun Over the Valley, and the yarn is inspired by expanding your comfort zones to try new things. So I did ask last time if you wanted to play along and guess the yarn colors. Here is the answer. So here is, whoop, I took it off so it's messy. So here is the main color, and here is the contrast mini. I absolutely love this mini. It is gorgeous. Yeah, that would be the color there. Now, it is another orange base yarn. I think the challenge really this year, because the yarns, the main color yarns are very similar, is the challenge of finding all the different things to make with them. I think that's what my personal challenge is. Now, just to show you what the colors look like here, I had unwound it before, that's why it was a mess. Right, here it is in the form. So you can see I have these beautiful, it's coming out, I don't know what color is going to come out on screen, but it has this kind of peachy golden tone to it. It's tonal, and then you have these big areas of speckles of green, a kind of greenish blue again. So similar, yeah, I'd say it's a greenish blue color, but a shade of green. So I think I could either make a shawl with it or a pair of socks. I have so many shawls right now going that I was thinking maybe I will just make a pair of socks this month, and then I'll have leftover to make my gnome. So I think I'm going to make the Swiss Dot Shorties pattern by Nancy Wheeler. I've had that pattern for a while, but haven't made them yet. And I think this would look really good as the little stripy, the little line contrast that run through the sock. We'll see. We'll see what I think about it as we go along. Otherwise, I do have those one skein shawls that this could work well for something. So we'll just have to see. So that is it this week. I will have to start a gnome as well. I plan to make the gnome shown here. And I'm sure I'll use that similar color for the braids. I'll probably use the contrast mini depending on how much is left over. I think it's going to use about half the 20-gram mini to do the socks based on other knitters' results yardage usage in their socks. So I probably have enough to make the dress for her. Maybe I can use one of the other colors then for the bottom. I don't know what I'll do with the rest of them because I want there to be enough contrast. And a lot of these, although these main skeins are each different, if you put them next to each other, they are not identical. They definitely have a difference to them. They're just unified in that kind of base color or family of colors. But for the gnome, I need that contrast more, right, to be able to make the parts stand out, or at least I do. I personally do. So that's what's coming up. Right, that's it today. I hope you've had a great week and that you enjoy your weekend. And until I see you next time, take care. Thanks for stopping by.